Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's biology time. It's 5 o'clock on a Tuesday. That's when I'm going to be here on YouTube helping you out with some of your A-level biology questions. So basically jump in the chat if you've got any maths related questions, which is exactly what we're going to be doing basically during these sessions. I need to mute myself, otherwise I'm going to hear myself in the background. Let's change my camera angle. So we just trim away all that fat. Okay, wonderful. So we're going to be doing some math skills questions. I got asked a question on my course about, it was a standard form question. The topic was photosynthesis, but it was basically a math skills question. And I looked at it and I was like, it didn't make much sense to me. And I couldn't quite figure out what was going on. And then I had to have a look at it again. And it took me it was a multiple choice OCR question. And it should have taken 1, maybe 2 minutes to do. However, it wasn't too difficult. I figured it out in the end, but it definitely was taking me longer than it should have done for the 2 marks. And my general rule of advice, if you get a question like that, that's a math skills question and you're just going around in circles, you know that you probably can do it, but to get there is going to take you 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, then it's not worth it for a 2-mark question. Mark it in the margin, outside margin always, and then come back to it at the end of the paper. Because yes, you probably can get those 2 marks, but you're killing yourself because you're not allowing yourself enough time at the end of the exam. If you've finished all the questions, you've checked all your answers, and you've got 10 minutes to spare, by all means, delve in, play around, eliminate some of the options if it's a multiple choice question. But especially for those multiple choice, you've got, let's say, 1.2 minutes per mark, then you can't just you can't waste that much time. You're killing yourself by doing that. So I'm going to jump straight in and go into this question. I'm going to go through the question that I struggled with the first time. You might see, it's a bit more obvious in this one. I was sent a screenshot, which was a little bit dubious quality, which didn't help me out, but no excuses. I definitely could have done a better job of this. Okay, so let's share my iPad. I'm using Zoom today. I'm not using the Google Hangouts. It's so much of a pain to use. This is so much smoother. This is the software I do my actual live classes in. So you're going to see my iPad screen, and basically I'm going to go through this, and we're going to see if you can do it. Is there a web class today, Hillary? One of my Ultimate Guide web classes. You betcha there's an Ultimate Guide every Tuesday, 6 till 8 is when I do my Ultimate Guide web classes. That is absolutely every week between now until your last exams. I think the last one is the 11th of June. Your final exam is the Monday after that. I think AJ asked for some action potential stuff today. We'll see how we're doing for time after I get through this question. If you come along, AJ, and if not, then come along next week and I'll prep some action potential stuff. Oh, Hillary, you wouldn't believe it. I'm doing 8 till 10 night hours right now, 14 hours a day, easy. Okay, so let's have a look at this question. Let's break it down. I'll zoom in a bit so you can see it. We'll just go full screen, more or less. Melvin Calvert, the context is year 2. All the math stuff is basically maths. The context, you've just got to strip away the context, and that's part of the skill of the question. So let's analyze the question. The light independent reaction in the Calvin cycle in plants. He used radioactive carbon-14 to measure the production of organic molecules in chloroplast. Even year 12 students should be able to do this. I'll give you the only piece of information you need to know from the course in order to open up the question. So I'll give you that. He placed an aquatic water in plant. The plant was given a light for 20 minutes. The light was turned off, so dark conditions for a further 30 seconds. He used the radioactivity of the solutions produced and these values to calculate, put it off the edge of the page, the number of molecules of triose phosphate and ribulose biphosphate bisphosphate present. Okay, the only thing that year 12 students need to know, that they won't know if they're a year 12 student looking at this, how many, and I'm putting this to you as the community, how many molecules of carbon, how many carbon atoms is in one molecule of triose phosphate? Question mark, carbon atoms. Okay, so I'm going to wait for the answer in the chat. This is required knowledge. This is not something you are, it could be given to you in the question. This is required knowledge. Is it Khalil? You are spot on. I mean, it's not a difficult one, is it? Because it's called tri for 3 and os for sugar. That is not too tricky to figure that out. But yeah, spot on. Obviously, if you've got glycerate 3-phosphate, GP, if you're an Edexcel student, you're actually going to call this molecule GALP. It's the same molecule. Don't forget why they call it different things. They've got no idea why they've changed the, I mean, yeah, same molecule, different thing. Okay, so now that's all we need to know. Now we can look at the question. Basically, none of that is particularly relevant to us. Okay, we've got a table of data, activity of carbon-14 in 10 to the 27 BQ. Forget the units, you don't need to know what BQ are. They're a measure of radioactivity as far as I know. I don't even know. So 10 to the 27, standard form. Okay, we've got TP, RUBP. Assuming that, and again, let's highlight the bits in the question. We've got 8.5 times 10 to the 18. So it's not to the same power. Are generated by each carbon atom. How many new triphosphate molecules are produced after 30 seconds in the dark? Now, this is, yeah, I can totally see where I went wrong here. So what's the way to open up this question? I want to give you the least I possibly can. The more work you do in your head to solve this for yourself, the better equipped you will be to answer it when you get to the exam. If I just literally worked through this solution right now and just showed you the answer, you'd be like, oh, that's nice, I understand that. And then tomorrow, if I asked you the same question, you'd be like, no idea how that happened. So like your mental energetic investment into solving these things, it's like running on a treadmill. You're going to train, the harder you train, the faster you're going to get better. It's exactly the same for brain work. Unfortunately, there is no quick fix. There are right ways and wrong ways. There's like effective training mechanisms and ineffective training mechanisms. We're actually doing a web class on how to improve 1 to 2 grades in May, in a month, on Monday next week. So instead of our student check-in, we're going to do it in a Zoom room, but we'll probably also broadcast it to YouTube Live. I don't know whether we'll put the YouTube Live out there live or whether we'll just record it and then broadcast it later, because I want everyone in the Zoom room, because then we get the chat. You can communicate with us in real time. Right now, if I ask you a question, okay, I'll ask you a question and I'll go, okay, so and then I'll stop counting when we get there. So how many molecules, how many carbon atoms does ribulose biphosphate have? It's 10 seconds or just over 10 seconds. 12. Okay, Dan was the first in there. It was like 12 seconds. So it's super hard to teach with like a 10 to 12 second delay, because I ask you a question and then I've got to fill 12 seconds until I get an answer. Whereas in Zoom, I ask you a question, you tell me straight away, and then we can it's way more natural in terms of actually teaching. Okay, so how do we open up this question? Well, the key here is actually new. This was the bit that I missed. I did the equation kind of right, but I missed this bit. So how many new triphosphate molecules are produced? So we can basically ignore RUBP. This question is not about RUBP. We can forget about that. So how many new molecules of triphosphate are there after 30 seconds in the dark? Let's just use the table for this first of all. And this is where I made my mistake. Yeah, but this is maths, and like, forget the context of the question. This is a standard form question. It really does not matter that it's about photosynthesis. I've given you the only piece of information you need to know, which is that triphosphate contains 3 carbon atoms. So seriously, this is just, you could get an identical question to this if you're an AS student. However, the context would not be in photosynthesis world. It would be something else. So how many trisephosphates are formed in the 30 seconds after it was produced, after it was 30 seconds in the dark? Again, I'm going to wait for you. I want you to do the work here. Is it possible to have the web classes with the revision kit? The web classes are all part of the ultimate guide. So that's the course where I teach you the content. The revision kit is where you learn the exam technique. So yeah, Hillary, it is 8.5 times 10 to the power of 18 for each carbon atom. Yeah, but that's not the question I'm asking you right now. I'm asking you how many triphosphate, what was the radioactivity total in triphosphates after 30 seconds in the dark? Is it just 10.1? You've got a few options. I'll give you option A. Is it, oh God, it would help if I could write a bit more neatly. Is it 5.5? Or is it something else? You've all gone quiet. This is more of a year. Okay, so like at the, okay, I'll lay it out a little bit better. So we've got 10.1 in the dark and 5.5 after 20 minutes in the light. So what's produced, this is total.